You're listening to No Early GGs.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to episode 62 of the No Early GG's FPL Draft Podcast. We are back after the international break is over, and Noah is also back from his trip to Europe. How was that, Noah?
It was great. Thanks for asking, Cam. Yeah, we're finally back together. I feel like it's been years.
It has been, and I'm not planning on leaving for a while, hopefully. But were you scouting any Portuguese talents when you were over there? Did you go see a game?
No, we actually did look up when like Benfica was playing Sporting Lisbon. There's nothing that really worked out for us, unfortunately. So I'll have to save that for next trip.
They knew we would be too powerful as a podcast if we had the transfer
Exactly.
rumors, right?
Yep.
Right.
Cannot let that slip.
All right. So waivers for this week are Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern time. So make sure to get them in before that. The schedule for this week is really odd. There's 8 games on Saturday and only one on Sunday and one on Monday. So I guess we have an action-packed 10 a.m. time slot, which is very interesting.
Right.
But first, let's go over how our teams did 2 weekends ago now. Noah, did you want to go first?
Yeah, I suppose. As you all may guess, I lost and what made it even worse is that it was preventable. So I lost because of a coaching decision. I had Gabriel, Arsenal defender, on my bench with 8 points. And if I started him over any other defender, I would have won. So that was disappointing. My guys did not do much other than Isak with a brace, 3 bonus points, and then Foster with an assist. So that was pretty much it for me.
Yeah, Foster. I mean, first of all, I don't think starting Gabriel would have been preferred by anybody against City, which they looked really good. And it's particularly Saliba, but Gabriel obviously benefits from that. And Foster looks like a good waiver. I will say
He's
that.
number one waiver pickup of the season so far.
I feel like that's been used multiple times already.
I mean, maybe, but I feel like I have said it about him multiple times.
Yeah, I think
So
you have.
we'll have our fact checker just verify that.
All right. From my team, which I opened up my team a couple days ago to the wonderful sight of 3 new yellow flags. And Botman's no longer red flagged, but he's orange flagged. So we'll get into that later with the Newcastle game because I don't trust these flags anymore and never have.
Yeah, no way.
My team scored 56 points. We ended up with a win. I did waiver out Mudryk for Cole Palmer based on how Palmer was playing. So I'm just swapping out Chelsea players at this point. And he got me 12 points, and Salah got me 15. Those were my main point scorers. And Jackson also scored, also yellow flagged with Palmer and Matoma. So interested to see how those end up going, but I'm hoping at least one of those players starts. Otherwise, I'll be down to like 10 players. So,
And well, you know what? I wouldn't be too disappointed if you only field 10 players this week because give you credit, Cam is in first place currently. And
on goal
really,
difference,
yeah.
on point difference, I guess.
Goal difference. No, I like that. Goal differential, Cam's in first.
On goal difference. Yeah, there's a 3-way tie for first right now, so it's tied. I think this is probably the closest I think the top half has been. I'm not sure
Yeah.
though. I can't remember last year's.
It's not too bad. And I mean, the whole table is pretty condensed. I just need 2 wins to tie you. Only 2
Yeah.
games behind.
Yeah. So we could come back in 3 weeks and our tones could be very different.
Let's hope.
All right. All right. Let's get into how this weekend is going to shake out. The one thing I do want to preface, obviously, international break, there's always injuries. There's actually one main one that we should talk about, Noah, and I don't know if you are aware of it, but we're about to
Oh
get to it.
no. Yeah, just tell me.
So Liverpool versus Everton, we get the Merseyside derby first. I'll have to note to myself to wake up to watch this one because I feel like it'll be good, but Liverpool are way better. So I guess my first question is, are you starting anybody on picking up and starting anybody on Everton in this game? Um, Particularly, I mean, Harrison scored, but is he
Hmm.
of any interest to you?
Well, I will admit that I did not know that Jack Harrison was on Everton until last week or last game week. And that was a nice little surprise. I know I texted our group chat. No one no one made fun of me or laughed. So I'm assuming no one else knew. But I thought that was a nice little surprise seeing Jack Harrison with a goal and an assist. I'm I'm considering them. I did run through my team earlier today, and I don't know if I value any Everton players higher than who I have right now, except for Fati. I don't know what to do with him. I'm gonna have to get into that a little bit later. Maybe I'll ask for your opinion. But yeah, I think I have one waiver for Decore. He's just been, on fire recently. Scored last game week.
Hmm.
And I mean, DCL looks like he's kind of back. I haven't seen him though. I'm sure he's flagged for just some reason. But yeah, they're I guess DCL like potentially consider Harrison, Decore, and then Gardner, I think his name is. He's been scoring a lot of points, but
Yeah,
I don't know. That's honestly these guys are only if you're desperate.
yeah, I agree. I think Decore is probably the standout for me at this point. Before I had Danjuma, always thought about getting Decore, never got him in. Now regretting it a little bit, but he does play for Everton. Let's keep that in mind
Hmm.
above all
But
else.
actually, I don't know if you're leading into this, but I did see an injury for Liverpool. And it goes back to what I've been saying. It looks like Robertson is going to be out because he dislocated his shoulder during the international break. So that would mean Simicas will be starting. And I know I always say if one of the starting four Liverpool defenders are out, they typically let up goals. And I think it's held true. But I do think Simicas is a pretty solid defender. So I might go against what I've been saying.
Yeah, and he's pretty good at attacking too. That was the injury
Mm.
that I was referencing as the biggest one. I think
Oh,
I read somewhere that he was out for like 10 weeks or something.
oh, geez. I mean, shoulder
So,
injuries. Ugh, I can relate and
oh,
sympathize. But I'm
yeah,
not. I'm not. I'm not happy about his injury. I'm just, happy that I knew who you were talking about. But
yeah. So Robertson out, Tsimikas, particularly against Everton. Liverpool do have good fixtures, so I imagine he's probably going to be the number one waiver in a lot of leagues. Just because Liverpool are a good team and he is now a starter, pretty much guaranteed. I don't know. Klopp might throw us for a loop, but I would assume Tsimikas is starting. Also out for Liverpool, Gakpo, orange flagged, and then Curtis Jones is out. So to me, I think that signals that Jota is probably going to start, knowing that Darwin and Diaz are coming from back from South America. So it's probably between those two, and then Jota and Salah as their front three. Um, Two more players before we move on. If Jones is out, I think Gravenberch, who should have scored last game. I don't know if you've watched Liverpool play recently, but he got 45 minutes in their last game, and he's one of their last signings of the summer, if not their last big signing. So I expect him to play more, and I'm assuming he might play in this game. I don't know though.
yeah, I didn't. I haven't watched Liverpool recently. I feel like I did see him contribute to a goal, or he did look good. I might have watched him in like FA Cup or something, but I did see a few highlights. So yeah, I mean, I could get behind that. Who would then? I'm trying to think who their center mids would be. It'd be McAllister, Szoboszlai,
And Gravenberch.
and Gravenberch. Is that usually what? Oh yeah, I guess they have Curtis Jones or Harvey Elliott. Yeah, think that could be a good
Yeah. Or Endo.
worth
We could see
Endo.
Endo again.
I feel like
But
Endo's gonna come in if they need to like, hold the lead or something. I can't see him really starting. But do you
yeah.
think Gravenberch is worth a waiver then?
I think it's like a fifth mid because we don't know if he's starting yet.
That's fair.
Yeah. Like Ansu Fati or Gravenberch. I think I'd rather have Ansu Fati.
Phew. All right. Thank you.
Um, the last player, and I feel like this player is always a risk, so we don't have to talk about it that much. But Matip has been starting, and he is actually available in our 12 man, so he might be available in smaller leagues too.
Yeah,
There's
but
always,
Konate, I
yeah,
feel like it
there's
was
always the
because
threat of Konate,
Mhm.
but
I feel like Konate was injured, but he's pretty much like the starter, right?
yeah, I mean, I've
Yeah.
always thought that, but Matip has always been, he's always been starting.
He's always lurking there.
Yeah. All
That's
right, let's move on. Bournemouth, Wolves. Wolves have some decent fixtures going forward. Still unsure about them. They seem to be better than last year. And
yeah, they
I expect them to win this game, I think. But if we know one thing about Wolves, you have no idea what to expect. Like they beat City, they could come out and lose to Bournemouth away. Um, have you considered any Bournemouth players this season?
I mean, not really at all. Solanke, but
That's about it, right? Like
yeah.
I think Neto, their goalie, is probably the only other player that's
Yeah.
potentially rostered in our league, and that's probably gonna stay that way until maybe Tavernier starts scoring again because he is still there.
Yeah,
Um,
what's he been up to?
I think
Still
he's
injured?
always injured, and I think he started last game, so I'm
Hmm.
hoping that he comes back uh to the form that he was in last year. So for Wolves, though, I think you have to start Neto and Huang, who has 5 goals, surprisingly, this season.
Yeah. I think Huang, I saw something, he might be the most efficient player right now, meaning goals to minutes played, he has the
That's
most.
crazy. That's crazy. I
Yeah.
believe it though, because it seems like he subs in and scores.
You need
Other
it.
than yeah, other than them two, Cunha, I believe, is another must start for Wolves. And then against Bournemouth and their decent fixtures coming up, I think you can bank on their defenders. I think most of their backline is available in our league other than Dawson. So,
Hmm.
and maybe Kilman's taken. So they're outside backs. Semedo and Ait Nori have been starting. But
Yeah.
I'm afraid of wavering for Ait Nori because everybody always makes fun of me.
Yeah. And that we will continue to do that.
All right. Do you have anything to add to that other than laugh at me?
Nope. Yeah, Semato's actually played every single minute in the past 8 games
Yep.
besides 6 minutes.
Yep.
So interesting.
All right. Let's move on. Brentford versus Burnley. So you have Lyle Foster. I assume
Mhm.
because of that, you might have been watching Burnley a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So is anybody on their team interesting to you except other than him?
Well, I actually did draft Brownhill, and I did that because I remember during I think it was, yeah, 2 seasons ago when they were pretty much already relegated. Brownhill was scoring and assisting almost every single game. Burnley went on that run. It was too late, but they did go on kind of a run.
Mm-hmm.
But he hasn't done anything. I was looking at him earlier today. I think he has 1 assist, and he plays every single game, usually the full 90, but doesn't do much else. I No, I know that. Who's the other forward? I'm Dooney.
Yeah.
I got it right. Sorry, I'm thrown off by that. But I know my dad loves him Dooney. I don't see anything really
Mm-hmm.
from him. Foster's clearly the main go-to there. But then there's one other, okay, I'm definitely gonna forget his name, but there's one other midfielder who looked really good when I saw him
Oh,
that first match.
you've mentioned Koleosho a couple
Yes.
times.
Yeah, and I do like him. I'm not as inclined to keep an eye out for him because he's not a forward
Yeah.
in FPL. But if he was, then yeah. I would consider him,
All right.
but yeah, no one else really.
All right. So the Brentford side, Hickey is suspended, which oh, wait.
He didn't play for Scotland the other day.
He had a red flag legitimately 4 hours ago, and now it's yellow. So I don't know what to believe, but I do
Not
think,
suspended.
yeah, I would. Yeah, I think I just made that up, but it's whatever. Uh, wow, I am very tripped up by that. I swear it said he was suspended. Anyway, Ayer was one that I was going to say to keep an eye on based on the press conferences, but maybe not because I think Hickey is pretty vital to the way that they play. I had a question for you. Can you guess who the highest scoring player on Brentford is in terms of FPL points?
Hmm. Well, the obvious choice would be Embuemo, but I feel like you wouldn't ask me that. Is it Wisa?
It is not Wisa. Wisa is third, and Bremo is second.
Wow, I have no idea.
I'm
How
asking
about
you this for a very specific reason.
Oh, it's Jensen, isn't it?
It is Jensen. He has 3 goals and 2 assists,
Oh my
46
God.
total points. He is the eighth or seventh highest scoring midfielder this season.
He's like the most like who is this guy player, I feel like in
Yeah,
EPL. Because I know that everyone who sees Jensen either thinks he's Janelt or Jansen. Didn't they
yeah,
have a Jansen? I
yeah.
don't
They
know if
had
he's
Pontus Janssen, and they have Janelt too.
Oh my
Um,
God. I know I got them mixed up. So that is a shocker to me.
yeah, I just wanted to point that out. I mean, he's definitely a viable option over Norgard and Janelt. But if I wanted a Brentford player, Visa and Bremo are probably taken. Jensen would be my next pick. All
Yeah.
right. All right. We have this might be our shortest game preview of all time because we have City versus Brighton. First of all, gonna be a crazy match. Definitely gonna be watching that one. But these are the two most unpredictable managers in the league. So I feel like our usual advice is like if you have an intuition about a City player, you can start them, and if they start, obviously they're playing for the one of the best, if not the best teams in the league. Not on points right now, but for Brighton, I think it's more of an interesting discussion as I have two of their players, you have one of their midfielders. So, how do you feel about Ansu Fati's outlook right now?
Yeah. Yeah, it is difficult. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to be at least spending a lot of time thinking about what I'm going to do because I have three players in this game. Fati, this would be the game that I don't start him, the first game that I don't start him. And I just, of course, just have that gut feeling that he's going to score. So I'm still thinking over that one. But honestly, I have more of an issue with what I'm going to do with John Stones because he has come off the bench the past two EPL matches. Or, okay, the last one. He played for 22 minutes against Arsenal, but he did play for 60 minutes for England, I believe. Or, sorry, he played in one of the domestic cups, I believe. Besides the point, he has been playing, but I keep seeing reports like, where is he going to slot in? Like,
Yep.
Kyle Walker's been doing great. I know
Mm-hmm.
he was used on the right back. I don't know what to do with Stones right now. I did see he could be that center defensive mid.
Yeah,
And if
that would
I'll
be
have to
cool.
double check. Yeah, is Rodri still suspended?
I believe he's back.
Okay. So I'm just going to look into that a little bit more. But I feel like what I could end up doing is benching Fati and putting Stones in.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
could see
Right now I
that.
have Gabriel against Chelsea and Stones against Brighton on my bench. And I have Fati starting. So I am going back and forth on
Oh,
who I'm
that's
going to put
tough.
in there. Yeah. Yeah, not great. So we'll
Uh,
see.
yeah, I think I would be between Gabrielle and Stones at that point. Um,
Take that note down.
yeah, I mean, similarly for me, like just how you wavered for Fati, like Ferguson, I think is my lowest scoring forward at this point, which I
Wow, it
don't
must
think I
be
would have.
so
Actually,
tough
no,
for you.
that's a total lie because he scored that hat trick. But other than that, he would be my lowest scoring
All right.
forward.
Gaslighting and complaining while you're in first. I love that, Cam.
All right, I'm just saying, Welbeck
um,
Welbeck keeps starting, and I have no idea why. I mean, I think
I
he probably provides something that is just on a higher plane of thinking than we are processing when we're watching.
I, I don't know. That
He
makes no
seems
sense.
he just seems to not be as lethal as Ferguson. I guess the main Brighton news at this point, since we cannot predict De Zerbi, is that Estupinian is injured. So Lamptey probably not a good player to get this game, but going forward, if you trust him, which he used to be one of the most electric FPL assets, um, I would probably pick him up if I had the chance to.
Am I think I am. I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly, but I think it was last season, the season before, Trossard had that hat trick. Was it against City?
I cannot remember, but I seem to remember a hat trick.
Yeah, he definitely had a hat trick. I just don't remember who it was against because I was thinking
Oh, I think it
since
was Man U. I think it was Man U.
of course it was. That would make sense. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking because since both these teams are in pretty good form right now, I could maybe seeing it be very low scoring or the
Mhm.
complete opposite. So
Yeah.
take with what you want there.
Yeah, I think I would be leaning attackers in this game though, for
Yep.
sure. All right. Newcastle versus Palace. I saw you picked up Lascelles.
Mm-hmm. That
So
killed me.
we're kind of fighting for that fourth defender spot. I don't trust Botman's flag, as I alluded to before.
Well, I usually wouldn't do this, but I do have. I was looking at his like a report I actually saw on Botman, and he's looking better, but still doesn't look ready for this game.
Oh, thanks, Noah.
Okay, Botman is hopeful to return in the next 2 weeks during the international break, according to Eddie Howe. But I don't know. I don't think they rush him back,
Yeah, seems like
especially
you're
against
gonna,
Palace.
yeah, you're gonna benefit from that, so that's good. Wouldn't have it any other way.
I
But
mean, if you want to, we can explore Lascelles for Ferguson, your low scoring forward, maybe a
uh
trade there.
I see where this is going. All right, anyways, um, we need to talk about Tonali,
Yeah.
who is probably going to get banned for gambling on his own team when he was at Milan, which is, I mean,
It is
can't,
interesting. We were talking about it earlier. Does does the FA have anything to do with it, or is it like FIFA who's going to decide the ban?
I don't know. I'm just interested to see if he plays this weekend.
I mean, it said that he was in training, expected to play. When I saw that report about it, they ended it with, "Yeah, I mean, Tenali is training with the team and is expected to play this Saturday." So, not
All
sure
right.
who said that or why, or
So
I
that's
don't
odd. That's
know.
odd. But I mean, who, if he does get banned, and we've seen with Tony, like these bans can take a while. I think Longstaff probably benefits the most. And then it's Elliot Anderson, who's actually started their last three games. I believe that's because of Barnes's injury and then Gordon's suspension. He's been getting kind of lucky.
And Joe Ellington, I think, has been
Yeah,
injured too.
yeah. So all of that has been helping him. So I think Longstaff is probably the biggest beneficiary of a ban.
Yeah,
And
but is he worth it, you think, to pick up?
I would have to it'd have to be like Joe Linton, where I think I'd have to see him like score in order to believe that he would be a good FPL asset.
Well, it's like Bruno too. Like Bruno's usually in and out on different teams
Yeah.
within our league, and he's still there right now.
Bruno G, not Bruno
Bruno G.
Fernandez.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if all three of those guys are available, Anderson, Longstaff, Bruno, I mean, I think we all know who we go to.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It's
Uh,
Bruno.
yeah.
Just make it clear.
On the other end, I feel like Palace is one of those teams where you can potentially get some points from a random player on their team, but they haven't really had like a stalwart this season. I guess maybe I feel like Edward scored a couple goals here and there.
Mateta's getting on the score sheet.
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, do you start those players against a Newcastle team that looks very good? And do you start? This is just a good question in general. So, Joachim Anderson is the highest scoring defender in the game right now.
Yeah, I saw that.
And usually those players you don't bench, but I feel like I would bench him against Newcastle. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Newcastle's just been hot. Like, I wouldn't start a Palace defender in this. Like, no way. I mean, I do have Isak, but still, like, I think Newcastle are one of the biggest threats. So, yeah, I mean, it'd be tough if you had Anderson. I feel like whoever does have him will still be starting him. But yeah, I mean, I would lean towards not starting a Palace defender if I had the choice.
Yeah, me as well. So I think Palace players against Newcastle would be one of my last choices out of these teams that don't involve like the big six against a team in the bottom half.
Yeah, and one thing I feel like a lot of people aren't expecting Palace to score, but I have a weird feeling that they are going to score.
Mm-hmm.
And your boy Jordan Ayew is going to break it open.
All right.
He's going to be the deciding factor in this game.
Yeah, I'm definitely starting their attackers over their defenders, especially with Botman out.
Is Eze back? Do you know?
Let's check his flag right now. So Eze red flagged, expected back November 11th. We have Joel Ward with an unknown return date now. So potentially good news for your Newcastle attackers. And that's about it from the notable players in their team. Cheek Ducore also orange flag. Yeah, I don't see this game going very well for Palace with those injuries.
Yeah, and they could not score against Forest last game week, so not too hot right now.
Yeah. All right. So one of the games I have no idea how it's going to go. Forest versus Luton.
Ooh, exciting.
So Forest have been not as bad recently. They might have been playing some easier competition, particularly Everton. But in terms of FPL, I'm going to be starting Morris in most games. I think I started him in a game against Chelsea a couple weeks ago that I probably wouldn't start him again now. But in games like this, I'm always going to start him. He has the potential to score a penalty in every game. Mm-hmm. And that's about it for Luton, I think. Are there any disagreements there?
Nope, I'm with you.
All right.
And it's not because I can't name any other players.
Yeah. Okay. In terms of Forest, so Awoniyi is still out, which I think was a surprise to a lot of people when the lineup came out. So he's out. Chris Wood started. He is available in probably every league. So
that's ridiculous. They have
why?
Origi.
This is why you're outraged.
Yes. I don't understand. He's literally a savior. I mean, he's like an 80-minute sub savior, but still, like, give the man a chance. Like, start him, see what happens.
I just realized you have Origi.
Yeah.
Do I? Oh, you're right. I mean, I could see him. I mean, the way you just described him kind of makes sense that he came off the bench.
Well, I mean, he like hasn't even played in some games. Like, what are they? I don't know what they're doing. Like, why pick him up?
Yeah,
he plays
that's a good question.
He played 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 14 minutes. Okay, the past 4 games, which is hilarious. But it's like,
yeah, I mean, it probably garners like a a more in-depth conversation that either of us probably don't know the answer to, but I feel like our conversations about Forest recently and particularly in this season have been basically that it's Awoni and Gibbs White that you can play. But other than that, like when Awoni is out, we have no idea who's going to play because they have Wood and Origi. They brought in Alanga. They brought in Hudson Odoi.
Yeah.
So you're basically guessing. It's kind of like Fulham's wingers to a certain extent, although Willian, I feel like, is now a sure starter. But who's starting for them? And I don't think they're good enough when they, as a team, to like risk that if they're coming off the bench.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, they have all these big names, but they've never tried to just put them all on the field together. Like, I want to see Gibbs White, Alanga, Hudson Odoi, and Origi. Through Origi. I want them all to be on the field together and see what happens. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's tough. Origi's last on my bench. I mean, I didn't know that Iwoni is out. So do you think I could take a chance and start Origi? I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be the perfect matchup, but
Yeah.
just adds a little bit of complication.
Yep.
Gibbs White, I'm starting.
Oh,
Hopefully this is his breakout.
Yeah. I would bank on it. All right. We have Chelsea versus Arsenal. I just want to preface this by saying I have very little hope. This is not an early GG by any means,
All right, come on. At least make it fun for me.
but I have no expectations.
No, come on. Tell
We're
me
gonna
that Chelsea's
lose.
gonna crush them. No,
We're
no,
gonna
no.
lose.
No, come on.
We're gonna win. We're gonna win. 1-0.
I mean, hey, like what is Saka might not be fully healthy.
Oh,
You
he's
know,
gonna play.
they just beat City, so Arsenal's gonna be really cocky. I think this is a great chance for Chelsea.
Yeah, they're gonna be complacent. You've convinced me.
And Nicholas Jackson didn't score a garbage time goal last game week.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, the Palmer to Jackson assist was the stuff of nightmares for every other team in the league.
Did was Palmer's goal the penalty? Was that last game week?
Yep. So I've successfully managed somehow to own every single Chelsea penalty taker when they've been on penalties, except for Palmer scored his and Enzo missed his. So
yeah, that's funny. I like that.
and
Stat.
successfully in 2 weeks in a row have managed to own a Chelsea player that gets injured because I had Mudryk before and then he got yellow flagged, which is why I picked up Palmer, and now Palmer's yellow flagged because he went off injured in the Burnley game.
Palmer's English, right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't get pulled up.
Right? I mean, I'm kidding.
Oh God, I was hoping you weren't. I was literally baiting you into that.
All right. Anyway,
I think I don't know. He's looking good though. You know, I have been pretty down on Palmer, but I don't know. I mean, he's on penalties. He didn't look. I mean, he finally started, which is what I'm always keeping an eye out for.
yeah.
I think that was a good pickup though. I'm actually targeting him in my other league, so
Thanks.
might have to cut that out. I know my dad will be listening to this, but actually, I have waiver over him, so it's fine. He can hear it.
Nice. So even though we could start our real FPL discussion now, even though Chelsea scored 4 goals, like who do you want from their team? Like I think Sterling looked so good that he's probably already picked up and drafted in the top 2. But we have a bunch of FPL players other than probably Jackson and Nkunku who we need to come back, even though we just scored 4. Like Palmer, Mudryk, Madueke. I'm forgetting people. That's how big our team is. But like, who is Palmer the number 1 for you?
No, on Chelsea?
Yeah, other than Sterling as a midfielder.
Yeah. As a midfielder, yeah, I would say Sterling's definitely number 1 and Palmer number 2. Yeah. I mean, for all Chelsea players, I'd go Sterling, Nicholas Jackson, then Palmer.
Okay. Nice.
You just wanted to hear me say that, huh?
No. I was genuinely interested because I
No,
feel like
yeah.
Mudryk always like never scores, but he always looks dangerous because he's just so fast.
Does he?
Yeah. Did you see his goal for the Ukraine against Malta?
I missed that one.
You should go watch it. I'm serious. It's great.
Was that his second goal in a calendar year?
Yeah.
All right. All right. I'll take a look at that one.
All right. And then on the Arsenal side, I mean, Arsenal is Arsenal. We kind of said the same thing about City, but their lineup's a little bit more straightforward. My only question for you, right, is let's say Saka and Martinelli are fully healthy, which they haven't really been recently. We've seen Nketiah and Jesus start together. Jesus on the right wing, which he looked pretty good out there against City. But other than those guys, first of all, what are you doing with Nketiah at this point? Do you think you have to keep him? And second of all, out of Trossard, Havertz, and Vieira, who would you rather have?
Yeah, so Nketiah, I drafted Nketiah last year pretty early on because Arteta was saying, he loves Nketiah, he wants to get him more time, and Jesus was injured. So I was like, all right, this will be great. Picked up Nketiah, and he like barely played last year. I feel like Arteta's actually serious about him this year, especially because when everyone has been relatively healthy, he's been playing. Even when Jesus is back, Nketiah has been playing. So I'm definitely holding on to him. If he ever dropped into the waiver pool, I would target him immediately. But those three players, I would take Trossard over Havertz and Fabio Vieira
Okay.
because I mean, yeah, I think obvious reasons. I think Trossard's the best player out of all of them, and he also does get the most time. He started. I don't know if he started last game week against City or he started in one of the domestic cups, but yeah, I mean, I'm backing Trossard. What
Yeah,
about you?
I kind of agree with you. I picked up Vieira in one of the games that he started and he didn't do anything. I think Havertz has probably gotten that spot back. So I think it's Trossard, Havertz, Vieira for me as well. All right.
Nice.
We have 3 games left. Sheffield United versus Man United. I am having a weird amount of faith in Man U for some reason. I know they're not doing too hot on the
It's time.
standings.
It's time.
It's time for one of those runs.
It
Quickly get
is.
this out of the way so we can talk about United. But is there anybody from Sheffield United you want?
Nope. Don't think I
Yeah.
can name a player outside of McBurney.
Yep. So I think I've been targeting Luton, but I probably should be targeting Sheffield based on how their fixtures have gone. Anyway, to answer my own question, I think I would rather have Cameron Archer than anybody on Sheffield, but we'll move past that.
Or Hammer.
Yeah, or Hammer,
I like
Hammer,
Hammer. Go
Hammer.
with that.
Okay, so for United, first of all, I think Hoyland he hasn't scored or assisted in any game, but I'm kind of scared of him and I'm playing him this week. He's playing against Sheffield. I think he scored a couple goals for Denmark this international break, so I'm pretty terrified of him, to be quite honest.
Well, yes, I'm with you there. And I'm reading this report right now. Wait, this is actually kind of funny. Hojlund is expected to escape injury following Tuesday's match against San Marino after he felt the team targeted him and wanted to injure him, he told local media.
Yeah, I saw there was like a terrible challenge into his back.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's insane. Yeah, this is his bad. He's gonna score. I feel
yeah,
like he has scored, or has he not yet? And
he scored in the Champions League twice.
yeah,
So I'm
okay.
expecting a brace at least from him in
Yep,
this
we
game.
can all hope.
Hey,
Oh, you're playing Willem this week?
yeah.
Wow.
I guess everybody else on Manu's probably taken their back line. So I still have Luke Shaw at this point, probably not going to drop him, although Still says unknown return date. Maybe I will. Whatever. Reguilon is now orange flagged instead of red flagged. Um,
Mm,
Johnny Evans has been starting. I think,
inconsistently.
yeah, and I think Varane is back now. Yep, no longer flagged. So I'm expecting Varane, Lindelof, Dallo, Reguilon.
Yeah, I think it'll be that or Dallo, Varane, Johnny Evans, Lindelof.
Lindelof. Yeah,
They
those are the
did that.
two
Yeah. Lindelof plays on like the outside back.
right back. Yeah. And I see as I scroll down that somebody has a certain Lindelof
Yep. I have him in
and
all my leagues.
Onana. Very interesting. Very
Yeah,
interesting.
I'm pulling a cam from last year. It has not worked out for me yet.
Yeah. I mean, this is the game to start both of them, I think,
Yeah.
against Sheffield.
And I also have Rashford. I know
Yeah.
not defensive wise, but Rashford's also due.
Yeah. Even if Reguilon does not play in this game, I think he's a good pickup. He was pretty attacking
Mhm.
in the couple games that he did play. I had him and Shaw at the same time at one point, and then he got injured. So he is a pretty good waiver. They do play City in the next game, though. So probably not going to start him in that one either. All right. We have two more games. Aston Villa versus West Ham. I guess we talked about Tonali. We can also talk about Zaniolo, who I have. And he is not good enough to keep, even if he doesn't get banned.
Uh,
Um,
who?
Nicolo Zaniolo.
Just for our listeners, can you just give some context on who he is?
Yeah, so he was at Roma and then he went to Galatasaray, and now I believe he's on loan at Villa, and he started their last three out of their last four games, did not start the last one, so I was probably going to drop him anyway,
What
but
position is he?
he's their left mid.
Hmm. All right.
Um, anyway, I think Bailey benefits from that if he does get banned. Villa have some really good fixtures: West Ham, Luton, Forest.
Wait a minute. Why is he gonna get banned?
Sports betting.
Oh,
He's part of the Tonali sports betting.
oh, I did not know that.
Yeah,
Okay, sorry. Keep going.
yeah. So I guess my question is, who do you actually think wins this game, non-FPL wise, and how does that influence your FPL decisions for Villa versus West Ham?
Yeah, I actually think this is going to be the most exciting game of the week.
All
I
right.
don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I guess I'm going to lean Villa, but I can see it going really either way. I can see goals from both sides. Ollie Watkins has been on a tear. He scored for England, so I love to see. And Ward Prowse also, let me just pull up this quick little stat. Ward Prowse has 3 assists in 2 Europa League matches this season. I thought it was going to be a different stat, but I just started reading it. But no, he's also been great in EPL as well. So yeah, I think a lot of goals. I do know that Pau Torres is the highest scoring defender in free agency in our league right now. So I know someone's probably going to pick him up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I probably wouldn't just because I can see goals from both sides
Yeah.
in
I
this
mean,
match.
they do have good fixtures. I do think both teams are going to score. West Ham, obviously Bowen, JWP, Antonio are always a threat. But I would be picking up Pau to probably start in this game, but also for the Luton Forest games after. Um, that's the only reason I could see that.
You said Villa has favorable fixtures coming up.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
All right. Last game.
Wait,
Spurs.
sorry. Before we move, do you think Suchek would be, a decent pickup?
In terms
Asking
of
for a friend.
West Ham assets, I think Bowen and JWP are 1A, 1B. potentially.
Oh,
And then Antonio and Paqueta, and then probably Suchek. I could see
yeah,
Suchek being pretty close to Paqueta in particular in terms of threat, just because on corners he's pretty good in the air. So I
yeah. And
mean,
I think the reason I said that is because he did score last week.
yeah. So I mean,
And
I would yeah, Kudus also is lurking out there ready to start, but I would need to see him actually start a game in order to pick him up, I believe.
yeah, it's fair.
But yeah, Suchek, I think I'd probably rather have him than Zaniolo right now, but that's not saying much.
Yeah, I'm about to say. No, that's I'm with you. Cool, thanks.
All right, last game, Spurs versus Fulham. I mean, this game to me is all things Tottenham. They are in first, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and their lineup has seemed pretty straightforward. I feel like I've listed it out before. I think the only question mark, I'm not picking up Basuma ever. The one question mark is Sar, I believe, if he's a good asset. I think Solomon and Brennan Johnson are both out, so Richarlison's probably going to start in that front three. But
Yeah.
do you trust their third midfielder, other than Madison and Basuma, in Sar to be a good
So
asset? Yeah.
yeah, Sar, if you look at like the bonus points, like scoring system, he's always up there. He plays really well, but yeah, after the first few weeks, he really hasn't gotten on like the score sheet much.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he is available in our league. I I don't know. He doesn't really excite me too much.
Hmm.
I mean, he's on Spurs, and typically when a team's in first, you kind of want all their players. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Schoiberg last year was like one of the highest scoring center mids, I feel like, and now doesn't really play. But you would think Sar would get back into that, especially if they're playing, similar formation, which they are. Those defensive mids get more opportunities, but I think he's a wait and see for me.
Yeah. All right. And then on the Fulham side, I brought in Tim Ream. Definitely gonna drop him with Fulham's fixtures. They have Tottenham, Brighton, and then Man U. Still have Andreas, got an assist last game, but he's kind of losing my faith right now, I gotta say. So, maybe looking at if there's anybody better. I don't think there really is. But in terms of other Fulham assets like Willian and Carlos Vinicius, do you look at them at all? I know you have a soft spot for
Yeah.
Vinicius in particular.
Okay, that was mean. You just
Why?
named two of the guys that have given me nightmares
Ah, I didn't know
on
that.
Fulham. Well, I drafted William and Vinicius
Oh
and then
yeah.
quickly dropped them. That was definitely on me, though. I was putting way too much faith in Fulham. I think I'm still scarred. I mean, William, I'd consider. He has played full 90 the past 4 game weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know. I probably wouldn't. Their schedule is not looking too great. The next 4 weeks, they have Spurs, Brighton, Man U, and Villa. So I don't have really any interest in Fulham players right now. Vinicius, I don't ever know. No matter what, even if I like lose two of my forwards, I'm never gonna pick him up again. I don't
Yeah.
trust him.
The only reason I am keeping Andreas is I'm just hoping that they get a penalty soon and I can see him take it and score, hopefully.
He had an assist last game week. It was
Yeah.
against Sheffield though, so
Yep. So that's my only reason for having any interest in Fulham. Other than that, they're like not the best team to watch. I know they tied Arsenal, but
yeah,
some
no, you're right.
flukes.
They really are just not fun to watch, like at
No.
all.
Like at least last year they had Mitrovic,
uh,
who was scoring a lot, but now they just don't have that same threat.
no. Hey, that's actually a really good point. I never thought of it that way, but it's so true.
Yeah. All right. Anything else for this game week 9 that's upcoming? I feel like we've had more game weeks than that, but it's only been 8
Hey.
matches.
No, yeah, it's good to have Prem back. When's the next international break, or when's the next off weekend? I hope it's not for a while because we need to just keep this momentum.
Yeah. That's a good question. Let's see. Um, what's the easiest way to check that? I'm just going to the Premier League site.
Yeah, I'll fill in some time, but no.
This is not the best way to do this. Oh, next international break is the weekend of the 18th and the 19th of November.
Oh, it seems like it's coming up.
Yep.
All
So
right.
right
Well,
before Thanksgiving.
okay. Well, that's fine. So we have a good run going, but yeah, excited for the games this weekend.
Yep. Well, that's going to do it for episode 62 of the No Early GG's FPL Draft Podcast. Thanks for listening.
And everyone, I don't know if many of you would remember this game. If you're an Arsenal fan, you actually might remember it. But back in the 2010-2011 EPL season, Arsenal was playing against Newcastle, and this was in the Robin Van Persie days. Arsenal went up 4-0 in the first 26 minutes. Theo Walcott, Johan DeJoro
Yep. There you go.
scored, and Van Persie had a brace. However, in the last 22 minutes of the game, Newcastle came back and tied it up 4-4. So please, everybody, no early GGs.
You're listening to No Early GGs.